We're following breaking news. A police officer has been shot in Yonkers. Authorities are holding a press conference. Let's look.
They were with members of the FBI and other members of the Westchester Safe Streets Task Force. They attempted to apprehend 3 suspects involved with the gun investigation. And in the course of investigating, 2 of the suspects went into the bodega at 115 Elm Street, and they were attempted to detain all 3 suspects. It was a fairly chaotic situation. We had plenty of people in there. One of the suspects attempted to push past one of our detectives, a Yonkers detective, and when our Yonkers detective pushed him back, it appears that he fired 1 shot at our detective, from his pocket, shooting him in the stomach. An FBI agent who was part of the Safe Street Task Force returned fire, and the suspect is deceased. Our officer is in a local hospital. He is in critical but stable condition. He was shot once in the stomach. He has damage to his colon, his intestines, and his kidneys, and he lost a tremendous amount of blood, but thankfully we think he's going to be okay. So that's where we're at now. Obviously, the investigation is extremely preliminary, very early. There's a lot that we have to sort out. There's some things that we really can't say, but we'll do our best to answer all the questions that you may have in regards to what we're doing here. It is a senior officer. The officer, who we won't give his name, he has 27 years with the Yonkers Police Department, and he is a detective. That is correct. At this point in the investigation, it appears that the FBI member of the Westchester Safe Street Task Force fired, and not our detective who was shot himself.
So the 3 suspects go into the bodega. There were detectives already in there?
No. The officers and the detectives and the members of the Safe Street Task Force attempted to engage people on the corner in front of the bodega, and they went into the suspects went into the bodega, and then that's where the incident occurred. It was all captured on video, the entire incident, so we have a pretty good handle on obviously there's going to be much more work to do, but we have a pretty good handle on what happened and how it happened.
How many of the other 2 suspects were able to?
Well, right now we have a number of people in custody. We're still sorting it out. Very chaotic situation. So in this particular case, there may be witnesses that are now being interviewed by our detectives and FBI agents. There may be additional suspects. We're still trying to sort all that out. To the best of our knowledge, no other officers on the Safe Street Task Force fired their weapon in this incident, to the best of our knowledge.
Does the task force work in uniform or street clothes?
So the question was, does the task force work in a uniform or plain clothes? It's a combination, and this is something that we found very effective in the past to combat the surge of gun violence, where we have officers from the state police and the Yonkers police and other local police agencies working in concert with the FBI to combat gun violence. So they were in plain clothes and they were conducting an investigation.
And of the people in custody, are they under, you said there were 3 initially that you were looking for. Of those in custody, are the other 2 in custody?
Yes, the question was, is everybody accounted for? The answer is yes. At this point, everyone is accounted for.
Do they have any criminal records that you know of?
The question was, do the suspects that we have in custody have any criminal records? At this point, we don't know. We're still sorting that out. Obviously, when that becomes available, we'll have that for you. Yes, sir. We're still trying to work that out. It's unknown. The officer was rushed to the hospital. The suspect was rushed to the hospital. So right now, we're trying to sort all that out.
The suspects in custody, so you have 2 in custody right now. The 3rd suspect is deceased.
Yes.
And other people who are witnesses are...
Yes. We don't. That's going to be a huge part of this investigation. The question was, do we know the background of the shooter, the suspect shooter? And we do not at this point, but obviously we'll find out fairly quickly.
County Legislator James Nolan, I got a question for you. You have a program where you are looking to do gun buybacks and stuff like that. With this incident here with guns in the city of Yonkers, got that another time? Because it's an issue.
Okay, absolutely, sir. What we'll do now is the mayor would like to say a few words, and then we're happy to answer as many questions as you need to explain what happened.
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much. Commissioner, I think, addressed everything that needed to be addressed. And, one thing about Yonkers, listen, we had 3 shootings so far this year in our city. That's 3 too many, but when you compare Yonkers to many of the urban centers, Rochester, I think, had over 400 shootings, and we had 20 last year. The reason I say that is because what you saw here is very, very proactive policing. And that's what our officers do each and every single day. They're out there proactively going after the bad guys. And so my heart goes out, and my prayers go out to the family of the officers that are involved, and just want to say thank you to our Yonkers police, certainly the FBI agents that participated in this today. We owe them a debt of gratitude. But at the end of the day, you know, there's just too much of this happening nationwide, and something has to be done.
Mayor, wasn't that about a year ago that we had a shooting right here up the street?
Yeah, this yeah, as a matter of fact, yeah, it was about a year ago that we had the shooting, and that individual was just sentenced to 10 years in jail recently. Yeah, and so Elm Street is a hot spot. It's been a hot spot for a long time, and that's something that we have to address.
So is it what?
When you say security video, does that include body cam, those activated in part of the investigation?
So to explain, we have a very comprehensive, as you know, body cam policy. But because these detectives were assigned to the FBI Safe Streets Task Force, they were not wearing body cameras because the FBI has a policy not to. So had they been working in just a capacity strictly with Yonkers, they would have been wearing body cameras. Some federal agencies have body camera policies, and when they do, we want our officers, and we insist our officers wear them. And when they don't, because they are part of the task force, they're not going to wear the body cams. And I just want to echo what the mayor said in relation to what happened here today. So we have an officer who has tremendous damage to his stomach and, you know, colon and intestines, and you know, just really, you know, thank God he looks like he's going to pull through. But this, as the mayor said, this very effort that they're putting up in trying to make sure that people are safe, this is the residual result of this, that they're out there trying to get these guns off the street. We know we're seeing upticks in violence, and because of the work we're doing, we have enjoyed much less gun violence than everybody else. So we really do owe a debt of gratitude to the FBI and those detectives for doing this work.
I just want to clarify, Mayor, you said year to date, the whole city of Yonkers, there are 3 shootings? 3 shootings?
Yes.
So you're, you know, obviously a few months, I mean, you're over the line from the Bronx. How do you account for that disparity? The Bronx obviously is
We count by what we're seeing here. Our officers are very, very proactive. Our officers are very much, you know, you have a city like ours, we're now the third largest city in the state, and when we hire our officers, they all come from Yonkers. And so I think that there's I think our officers, they care about this city, they're proactive, they're very well trained, and they work very well with our partners both at the county, state, and federal level. And it has shown results. But like I said, at the end of the day, we still had 3 shootings, and that's three too many for any mayor. And we're going to continue to deal with that.
Do you have a rough
So the
estimate
mayor
on
said this is a
the time
hotbed.
that the officers approached the suspects to when they went in the bodega to when the first shot was fired? Like how much time went by?
The question was, how long was the interaction when the officers engaged
Yes.
the suspects? Seconds. It was seconds. You know, we'll be able to see the whole thing play out. And with regard to your question about, you know, why only 3 shootings, it's because of the community we have and how great they are. It's because of the police and the officers we have and how great our mayor is and how supportive that we're able to enjoy. Again, we don't want any shootings, but 3 shootings in a city this size is fairly impressive. And it's about our precision policing model, where, you know, we don't have to lock up the whole world. We do not want to do mass incarceration, but we have to have laws in place to make sure that the real bad guys, the violent guys, the prolific offenders are put in custody, because they're harming everyone. Elm Street and the rest of the outlying area deserve better than this, and we're working every day to make that happen.
So what is it about Elm Street that makes it a hot spot? You called it a hot spot. What about it? Why here? Is it, I don't know, is this where they buy and sell the guns, or what? Why is
Very
this
impoverished
hot?
area.
Elm Street is a busy area, it's an impoverished area, but let's be clear, the vast majority of people that live in and around Elm Street are absolutely fantastic. And we love them, and we are doing everything we can. And exactly what that officer did today, in putting his life on the line and being shot through the stomach, is exactly how we feel about our Elm Street residents, our good residents. They don't want this either.
Male or
one
female,
more
the injured officer?
for either of you.
A male.
Male, and they were undercover when this all happened, you said?
They were conducting a firearms investigation. So they were in plain clothes. They were not in uniform. Most of the time, they can be proactive when they have teams like this. And you know, the rest of it, as we have more information, we'll let you know.
And I think they're the suspects, the shooter and the two other suspects, they were the targets of this operation, or they were incidental to the operation?
It's our understanding at this point they were the targets, but a lot of that is going to play out. You know, if you can just imagine how slowly we have to go here to make sure we're very methodical about this scene, that we cover, we leave no stone unturned.
Just to clarify, Commissioner, everything happened inside the bodega, or the shooter shot from inside to outside?
Inside the bodega, everything occurred inside the bodega. And yes, that question, as far as the guns, we recovered 2 illegal guns. We can't tell you the make or the model at this point, but you know, after we went in and began the investigation, after everyone was taken to the hospital, we recovered 2 guns, 2 illegal guns.
Including the shooter's gun?
No, yes, 2 guns. That's correct.
And how many shots exactly were fired?
To the best of our knowledge, 2, but that could change. Right now, like I said, it's very, very preliminary. I may be wrong, but we think it was 2.
When can we expect
That we don't know. He was rushed off to the hospital, and we don't know that.
when can we expect an update when you know if these guys had criminal backgrounds or anything, or changes in medical status?
We'll get, you know, so the question was when we expect an update as far as the status and criminal histories of the suspects involved. As fast as we get the information, we'll get it out. Obviously, you know, we want to just make sure that we're correct. So sometimes it takes a little bit more time, so we don't have to backtrack, but we just want to make sure we're correct.
The officer that was shot, nearing retirement?
At this point, we don't really want to go into his personal situation. I understand the question, but I think, you know, that, you know, we may come out later with, you know, who he is and everything else, but we want to just focus on his health right now and his well-being.
And lastly, you know, what's your reaction? Obviously, there was a police-involved shooting on MLK Day. You know, another incident that happened on Main Street. Now you have this one. I don't know if both of those factor into the 3 shootings or not. But what's your reaction to 2 police-involved shootings? We're talking about a span of 4 months, 5 months now.
My reaction is that this is why Yonkers had 21 shootings in a city of 210,000 this last year in 2021. That they're out there being proactive and trying to get guns off the street. You know, if you're looking at other cities, we've been blessed because of the work the officers do, because the detectives do, because of what the mayor does for us, what the city council does for us, and you know, our community, how great our community is. So, you know, I think that there is a proliferation of guns. I think those guys that were working in this task force today were out there trying to get a couple more off the street, and they did. Unfortunately, we had the situation we had. But, you know, this type of work is not, it's not predictable. And this is a perfect example of what these guys, these officers and detectives do every single day.
Yeah, and even you talk about the Main Street, and remember, this is a very, very close-knit urban center. It's a very diverse community, but it's a very tight-knit community. And you even look at what happened on Main Street, and I'm sure the commissioner can clarify, but, you know, the videos that were shown there, again, you have police officers here who are selfless, who are proactive, who are willing to go out there and do the jobs that they do. And listen, I'm not saying that the other departments aren't as good as ours. I'm just saying I am very confident in the department that we have. And I will tell you that is why we have been enjoying these numbers. But like I said, we still have to deal with the fact that we are an urban setting and there are shootings and there is an uptick across the country, and that's something that has to be dealt with, all of us, and I don't know that we're there yet.
And the video you have is just from the store or on the street?
So the question was the video that, what video do we have? Right now we have the video from the inside of the bodega, and that video was very fruitful in terms of like showing us what happened. But there will be other video. Well, you know, there will be external video. There'll be video from other stores across the street. That's part of the investigative process now. They will look for all types of video, as many witnesses as they can find, because we want to make sure we have an absolutely clear end-to-end picture of what took place.
Can you pronounce it Mueller or Mueller? I forget.
Mueller. It's okay though.
That's a great debate.
Go either way.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
John Mueller.
Mike,
This is Mayor Spano.